y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Is this camera on me? Oh my gosh. Y'all, this is so crazy, so nerve-wracking. Can I get a yeah in the chat if y'all can hear me? Y'all can hear me. Awesome, y'all. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. This is like my second or third YouTube live ever. It just felt necessary this time. When I spoke to TJ in the past, it was on Twitter Spaces, or I've only ever spoken to him on the phone. So it was important to me to see his face, be able to put a face to the name, and also have it be accessible in the future. Because obviously, with the way things are going, I feel like Twitter is only going to get more and more kind of hard to work with. And I'm sure that people would like that option. So yeah, I'm so excited to be here. I know that TJ is not set to start with us until 7:00 on the dot. He's about to join the back end here in a minute, but I just wanted to come on a little bit early because obviously I want to make sure that I'm talking about Jackson January. I wanted to get my intro out the way because y'all know TJ got a schedule. He got 50,000 kids and 40 jobs. So I want to make sure that we respect his time. I didn't want him to come on at 7 and I'm yap. So yes, if you guys have been around for a while, if you guys are familiar with me, if you guys have been a part of Jackson January, whether in the past or if you guys have been rocking with us all month, hello, welcome back. And for those of you guys who don't know me yet, maybe you guys saw TJ post about the event, or you guys came across Jackson January. Hi, I'm Mother Rose. Really, my name is Rose. Some people call me Mother Rose. It's just kind of a nickname that stuck. You don't have to call me that unless you really want to. And yeah, I am from the East Coast. I'm born and raised in Virginia. I am currently living in New Jersey, right outside of New York City. And I am 50,000 kids, 11 kids and 40 jobs. I remember the first time I spoke to TJ, he kept on coming up and he was like, I have 7 kids or 8 kids. I forgot how many he said, but it was a lot. And we were like, wait, when did TJ have all these kids? But of course he has his own kids and chosen kids. It's all love, just playing. But yeah, I consider myself to be a music journalist, ethnomusicologist, and a cultural critic, which is a bunch of fancy words to say that I'm a Black woman who loves music, and I would talk about it forever. I'm a girl that has a phone, and I know how to use it, and I know how to, kind of create virtual communities and spaces. I first got started prior to Jackson January and all this stuff. I got started in 2021. It was back on Clubhouse, actually. I don't know if you guys remember that app, but it was social audio. Oh, Lulu, we're closed. That's awesome. Come on, fellow Jersey. But yeah, I started on 2021 on Clubhouse. It was kind of a social audio app, think like a group phone call type of deal. And it was really, really popular during the pandemic. And I started hosting spaces with my friends. We started an event one day just to talk about Frank Ocean, and people came and they really seemed to enjoy it. And so it wound up becoming something that we would do a couple times a week. Let me silence this phone chat. Yeah, it wound up being something that we would do a couple times a week. And I was supposed to be in charge of outlines, and someone else was going to do social. Someone else was doing the scheduling and social media and blah, blah, blah. 1 second. I'm getting these links out. Somebody's like, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? So yeah, period. So yeah, we started out on there. I was supposed to do schedules, but long story short, it was still kind of late lockdown. And so eventually all of my coworkers started going back in person, and they stopped. So late 2021, I wound up moving over to Twitter and just kind of starting my own thing. And I started my first month-long series in February of 2022. It was Stevie's series during Black History Month. We went through Stevie's classic period on Tuesdays and talked about Black albums on Thursdays. People just kind of knew Tuesday and Thursday Rose is going to be live on Twitter. I've done different series like Diva Month, which took place in March, which is International Women's History Month. So we cover different divas like Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, Aretha Franklin, all the dolls. I've done a Heartthrob History event where we talked about different male singers and heartthrobs. I have done May La Soul, which was a neo soul series, focusing on the genre. So we talked about people like Erykah Badu and so on. And then Jackson January came about. So I have always been a Michael Jackson fan for as long as I can remember. I also love Janet. I love the whole family. I grew up in a family that loves the Jackson family. Um, but yeah, when Michael passed away, I was in my early teens and I instantly found myself in Michael Jackson fan communities. I have friends that I've known for 15, 16 years, just because we've been online loving Michael, and talking about the family as a whole. And so it was December of 2022. And one of my friends, Tavi, who I believe is in the audience somewhere, she was talking about how, like, back in the day, we used to watch like concerts together or get on group chats and watch music videos and, kind of kiki. And she was like, we should bring those old days back and like kind of get online and watch the stuff. And I had already been doing my monthly series and it was December. So I was like, okay, Jackson January. And there was no particular other reason for me to pick January. I guess I'm crazy and I like to plan month-long events during the holidays, but Jackson January was born. We did it for the first time in 2023. Really, it was important to me for a couple reasons. Number one, coming out of 2019, Michael Jackson fans know we went through some rough things on a PR level. It was sort of a point in time where we felt like we couldn't celebrate Michael the way that we would want to. And we were kind of getting out of this weird PTSD and waking up as a fandom. And also on the Janet side of things, we're seeing her getting inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Janet Jackson Appreciation Day, and just the uptick in support and appreciation. And when I decided to do Jackson January, it was important to me to not just focus on those two, but to talk about the entire family legacy, because I think a lot gets lost in talking about the family legacy. I think that in hindsight or in certain pop culture circles, people look at it like Michael and the Pips or Janet's older brothers, and they kind of throw away the Jackson 5 and the Jacksons. I've been in these communities, like I said, for a long time. I know a lot of Michael fans that have never gone through the Jackson 5's music, never gone through the Jacksons, never really taken the time to listen to any of the solo catalogs like Jermaine and LaToya and Tito and stuff like that. So Jackson January was about everybody, and really taking a look at the contributions of the Jackson 5, the Jacksons, the third generation, and the overall cultural impact. So that started in 2023. Shortly after the first Jackson January, I encountered TJ the first time. Also between, and then we had Jackson January 2024, which was awesome. TJ came on for the first time. That was when I interviewed him on Spaces, and we had an absolute blast. Between Jackson January 2024 and this year, February, I had started the Hee headquarters, which is a Discord community, particularly for Michael Jackson fans. It's pretty much catered towards those of us who are on the younger Zillennial side, pro people of color, pro queer. And really, this is a massive fan base, but having a place for those of us who are younger, who are chronically online, and most of us weren't around during Michael's peak years. So just kind of, we contextualize him a little bit different. And so, yeah, I started that Discord last February along with some friends. We're just under 300 members and we host events all the time, usually at least once a month. We might watch a concert, watch a movie. We have a bunch of different chats that are ongoing. And so over 2024 and 2023, I was really building up a lot of good credit in the Jackson family communities. And here we are, 2025. I never planned to not do a third year of Jackson January, but obviously we were hit with an incalculable loss, losing Tito in September. And it just became an even bigger deal to me. When Tito passed, I just kept on seeing former Jackson 5 member, Michael Jackson's brother, Janet Jackson's brother. And I'm like, Tito broke the string. Tito set it off. Tito set the whole thing in motion. And I felt like it was really important. Like it became almost like a spiritual, I have to put this on my back. And if I had any thoughts of not doing Jackson January again, that was completely squashed. So here we are. It's 2024. I'm going to share my screen just so that you guys can kind of see some things. Let me go ahead and make this full screen real fast. I just want to kind of just show you the schedule that we've been rocking off of. So just give me 1 second to make this full screen. And then TJ should be on his way in here any moment now. So yeah, you guys should be awesome. You guys are seeing my screen. So this is the Jackson January 2025 flyer. It got a rebrand. It was not this cute in previous years, but yeah, you guys can see pretty much the whole family. We got Joe and Catherine. We've got our angels up top, including Joe for that matter, and just kind of the whole family all the way down to the third generation, just kind of emphasizing that it's all of us. This is the whole brand kit, so y'all might see something that isn't finished. But the beginning of the month, we talked about the Jackson 5. And then we had an event where we discussed Destiny and the Triumph albums, because those are super powerful. Every year we watch The American Dream as a movie night. So that was what we did on the first Sunday, watch that movie as a family. Last week, we got into the going solo. So if you guys didn't already know, every single member of the family from Michael and Janet's generation has a solo career, some more popular and successful than others, but it's really awesome to kind of listen to how they were making music and, you know, their solo endeavors. So let's move on. Here's where we're at now. Last night, we talked about the third generation on Spaces on Twitter. So, of course, we talked about 3T and TJ's contributions to his band with his brothers. But we also talked about other members of the third generation, like Michael's daughter, Paris, Reeby's son, Austin Brown, who's doing a really phenomenal job in music. He's nominated for several Grammys this year. Jafar Jackson, who, of course, has the honor, the distinct privilege of playing his uncle Michael in the upcoming Michael Jackson biopic. And we just kind of talked about where everybody was at. You know, in terms of how the new generation is carrying on the legacy. Tonight, of course, we're going to be talking to TJ. Again, it's his second time coming for Jackson January. So I am super excited. He's asking for the link here. So let me send that to him. 1 minute, y'all. TJ calling. But yeah, just to keep rolling, this Sunday on the Discord, we are going to be watching Jackson Family Dynasty, which is super duper exciting. For those of you guys who aren't familiar, back in 2009, the Jackson brothers, even prior to Michael passing away, they had been working on a reality show detailing their 40th anniversary. They were trying to get in the studio and make new music, and then tragedy struck. And they continued to film. The show came out in December of 2009. There were 6 episodes, and then it disappeared, and it's not on any streaming. It's super hard to find. We watched it as a family back in October on Tito's birthday, or Tito's birthday weekend. And then we went on ahead and tapped in with it this year. So we're going to watch it on Sunday. Sorry, I'm trying to multitask. I got to get the boy the link. So yeah, we're going to be watching that on Sunday. Definitely join the Discord if you guys aren't on it already. The link should be in the bio. So we'll be doing that. On Monday, Martin Luther King Day, hopefully all you guys are off. We are going to be celebrating Tito on Discord as well. We'll be listening to some of his solo music, celebrating his contribution to the family bands. Tito has also collaborated with almost all of his siblings. And of course, his phenomenal solo career. We'll be kind of watching videos, sharing clips, sharing memories, and celebrating the life. Then there's Jackson Family Tea, which is a highly anticipated event every year. Now that we're done talking about all the music and all the generations and all the people, we talk about the stories, the drama, the baby mamas, all the different things. Some things are rumors, some things that are things that have been confirmed over the years in different Jackson family memoirs and reality shows and stuff. But kind of for the people, like I said, we've talked about all the music, we've watched the music videos, we watched the movie. Let's get in their business. Then we're going to close out Jackson January next Friday, or no, not next Friday. Next Friday, we have Michael Jackson, The Rarities. I try not to do any stuff about Michael or Janet's like super popular work. So we'll be talking about some of Michael's unreleased music and stuff that is harder to find, like Someone Put Your Hand Out in the Back, This, That, and the Third. We will be watching the documentary Journey from Motown to Off the Wall, the Spike Lee documentary, on Sunday, January the 26th. Friday the 30th, we will be celebrating Janet on Twitter Spaces, playing all the hits, discussing her career, and closing things out with Baby Sister. And then the final day of January, January the 31st, we're going to have a game night on the Discord. We do a game night every year. It is so fun. We do some trivia games and things of that nature. So it's a really awesome opportunity for us to close out the event on a high note. And, you know, now that, again, we've covered all the music, covered all the people, let's do some trivia. Let's see how much you guys were paying attention. So yeah, that's what we've got for Jackson January. You guys can follow me. Let me go ahead and put my @name, because I'm seeing obviously a lot of you guys are coming from the Tito side or the TJ side. But my @name on everything is The Rose Garden, Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky. You guys can find me there. And of course, we welcome you guys to join the Discord. It is a predominantly Michael focused Discord, but we have some chats where we talk about Jackson family values. And we do watch a lot of Jackson related stuff. We were just watching the Next Generation show that TJ and his brothers did back in the 2010s. We were watching that a couple weeks ago. So that was super duper cool. So at this point, finishing on time. That's crazy. That's why I started a little early. I'm glad I finished on time. So at this point, as y'all saw, I just got TJ the link, so he will be jumping in here any moment now. While I'm waiting for him, I'll just go ahead and talk to you guys about how I got connected with TJ. So it was back in 2023, maybe a month after the first Jackson January, and TJ tweeted some things. About his auntie, and some people didn't agree, and people were mad, and they felt however they felt about it. But me, I was really curious because obviously TJ, sometimes when you're talking about stuff online and you're trying to share your opinions and you're passionate, sometimes we don't say things the right way, or sometimes we want to add more context that we just can't add in one tweet. So I invited TJ to come and have a conversation with me on Twitter Spaces. He came, and it was a time. We had a time. I was able to ask him a lot of questions. It was kind of an awkward way to get acquainted with a member of the Jackson family after all the work I did. And but it was the way that we got connected, and we wound up speaking a little bit after the fact. He asked me to like kind of help him put out a statement, and I just tried to keep the communication warm. I had always been a fan of 3T. Like I said, I was a Michael girly always, and I remember in those old days we would watch the Y video all the time. I was a huge fan of the Brotherhood album. And so I already was a fan of 3T, already was tapped in, but I hadn't really gotten to TJ's solo career. I hadn't really been as like deeply tuned in with what he had going on. And so after we wound up encountering each other, now I'm following the music, getting into the things, and I would just keep in touch every here and there. And I remember I reached out to him before the second Jackson January, and I'm like, I don't know if you remember me, but I interviewed you a couple years ago, and it was kind of awkward, but I hope I'm not blocked. Come and join us. And he did. He was so gracious with his time, so gracious with his energy. He's an open book, really, truly. And we were able, not why can't we have a rap song? Those of y'all who were there, I try not to talk about it too much because it really was an awkward way to meet him. And I remember at first he thought I had said some things about his family that other people said at the beginning of the space. So I was like, no, like literally last month we were talking about you and your family, like please. But he came last year, and we really focused especially on his early days. We talked about, what it was like being in a band with his brothers, what it was like growing up Jackson. We talked a lot about the 3T days and his training in show business. And we touched a little bit on the solo career, but I remember we started running out of time. Since I spoke to TJ last, and he just jumped in the yay. Since I spoke to TJ last, he's dropped an album and like 50 singles, a short film. He's been live with his family all the time on YouTube. I am super excited. We have plenty to talk about tonight in the world of TJ Jackson, and I don't want to take up too much time. He's in the waiting room, so I'm going to go ahead and do my nice introduction. And you guys start welcoming TJ in the chat, show him some love. But of course, from witnessing the electrifying performances of his iconic fathers, uncles, and aunts, captivating audiences worldwide, to sharing stages in stadiums across the United States, Europe, and the world with his talented brothers, Taj and Terrell, TJ Jackson has been an integral part of the entertainment industry for nearly 3 decades. While establishing his own distinct and artistic journey as a solo artist, TJ has seamlessly balanced the demands of a thriving career and a deep commitment to family and philanthropy. I am really excited to reconnect with TJ for the 3rd time, the 2nd time on Jackson January, not only to dive into his remarkable experiences as a member of the Jackson family, being a son, a father, a brother, a nephew, but I also want to explore the profound messages he conveys through his art. We want to talk about all the new projects that he's got, check in about the family, and show our love. And I'm just really, really excited to dive into all the work that he's been doing. So without further ado, let's welcome to the stage the one, the only Tito Joe Jackson Jr.
What's going on, Mother Rose?
Hello.
Mother Rose, you know what's interesting? You said I've been in the industry for almost 30 years, right? Or 3 decades. And I thought, dang, has it been that long? But you know what? It's actually been longer. Wow. Because we had a song called You Are the Ones on the Jacksons miniseries, the American Dream soundtrack.
Nice.
I believe that was 92. And that would be 33 years ago. So
insane.
Scary.
I remember when I was doing some research about that film, I heard that they they wanted to have as many of the Jackson grandchildren as possible in the movie, and obviously only Jermaine Jackson Jr. made it into the film. Do you remember
Mhm.
any of that stuff, or was it just like the age? Or
I just remember that's the beginning. Well, not even the beginning of 3T. That was when we first, I think, became 3T. Just before that, we were the 3Ts.
uh-huh.
And I remember we did so much music. There's so many songs out there as the 3Ts that are in someone's vault. Maybe in my father's, or my brother has one, or I don't know. But I remember we recorded so much that we were just so excited to be on an actual real CD and a
Yeah.
real tape, a
Hmm.
cassette. And I remember our uncle, I think, asked Uncle Jermaine, I love you, Uncle Jermaine.
Yeah.
Uncle Jermaine asked my father if there was a 3T song we wanted to include in this Jackson's movie. So we went with "You Are the Ones," and it was a song that we wrote. Obviously, I'm sure Terrell took the lead on it if he didn't write the whole thing. I don't really
Right.
remember, but that was a song that was picked for the Jackson's miniseries soundtrack. And I remember because Boys to Men had a song that
They were in
was
the movie
in the
too.
Still of the Night.
Hmm.
Still of the
Yep,
Night.
they're in the Gary, Indiana scenes, like performing
Yeah.
on the corner, and there's this really cool picture of them with your grandparents and Jermaine.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so
Yeah.
cool because they were managed by Michael Bivins, who is a
Hmm.
lifelong family friend as well.
Hmm.
But it's so interesting because now when I look back, it's just really cool to be connected to all these
Hmm.
great legendary people and artists.
Hmm.
And I remember listening on the radio and hearing "In the Still of the Night" and knowing that 3Ts had a song on that same album as
Yes.
that Boys to Men song, and it was just really cool. It was our first taste of kind of any success. Yeah, that was 92, 93, so it was really
Amazing.
cool.
One more thing about the movie. Is it a cult classic for you or for y'all the way it is for us? Because I mean,
That's a
like,
good
go to
question.
bed, Joseph. And like, I mean, the reason why we watch it every year, I remember last year, second year, Jackson January, they tried to get me to switch it out. And I almost did, but I'm like, this is a classic. And I think the joy
No.
is that so many of us, because it would come on VH1 and BET all the time. That was one of my first exposures
See,
to your
and
family.
it's so interesting when I hear this because for me, I'm in the inside, so I don't see it on BET or VH1. I never seen it that way. I've seen it maybe like a copy with the time code on the corner, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And but our family was proud of that. Our Uncle
Mhm.
Jermaine obviously did his thing. I believe he was the executive producer. I know he was the driving force behind it, and
Mhm.
it was something that we were all proud of. It told the story pretty doggone
Mhm.
well, versus someone outside the family doing it and putting
Yes.
their spin. Uncle Jermaine did his thing and really I think gave the family a nice, a nice true reflection of what happened
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
the start of it. And I remember my Uncle Michael would always say he loved it and was proud of it. And
Good movie. It's
yeah,
well done. The performances are
yeah,
great. And I'll watch Jackson interviews and I'm like, are they taking notes? Like the little stuff that like your Uncle Jackie or Marlon will say in interviews about like stacking the bricks. I'm like, they really got this down to a T.
yeah.
So
And we had heard all those stories before, even when our parents met at the school and all that stuff. But to finally see it
yeah.
was in a TV kind of way, in a film kind of way, was really cool.
Yes, yes. Well, enough about the film. We've got your own short film to talk about. Like I said before I brought you on, you've done a lot since we spoke last, and I'm really,
Yeah.
really excited to dive into like what your career has looked at over the last year. Like I said, I think you were about to drop MMM. It was early January, and I think MMM dropped in March. So you were still prepping and getting that promotion out there. Since then, the film has come out. How are you
Hmm.
feeling? How do you
I'm
feel about
feeling
your
great.
2024?
I'm feeling great. From a creative, artistic standpoint, I've really hit a wonderful place, where I'm making music and creating art for the 100% perfect reason for myself and my soul, and for those who like what I do. And there's something really comforting and really stable and powerful about doing it that way. There's no external forces that can switch that up. There's no
Mhm.
no pressure I'm really feeling. The only pressure I'm feeling is challenging myself to do the best work I can do. Whether that gets 10 million views, 100 million views, 1 million views, one view. I don't That's not important to me. Sure, I think every artist wants their art to be accepted and enjoyed, but that is not the first, second, or third most important thing for me.
Mhm.
And I can't say that's not always been the case. You know,
Yeah.
with 3T, we were so wanting to get to the level of Uncle Michael and Auntie Janet, who were on
Yes.
the charts with us, that in a way, I'm enjoying these times a bit more because it's not about that. It's about the act and the journey and the creating instead of about the result. That is, in a way, quite superficial to begin with.
Yeah.
And you know, don't get me wrong. I love the fact that I think it was Indonesia, 95 or 96. Me, my brothers, Auntie Janet, and Uncle Michael were all in the top 10 in a
Yeah.
foreign country, and that's a cool little thing. But
Mhm.
at the same time, those moments are fleeting, and if
Yeah.
you hit your happiness to that, you're bound to be disappointed. And I've learned to not only accept but enjoy making music on my terms.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we already know you've witnessed the heights for yourself and your family. So it really is great. And I think that that's always going to be the best music when you're making music for yourself and from your heart. And I feel like that comes across so well on MMM. I love that album. I have so many
Thank you.
favorites. Can you talk to us about the process of making it? I know some of the songs were years old, some things were brand new. What Let's talk about it. The experiences and the themes, the inspiration. How do we get there?
You know, I think doing music for as long as I've been doing music, 30 plus years, you find ways to interest you and find ways. What was that?
I
What's that
just
mean?
did clock it because you said 30 years. That's a snap, 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 clap, clap.
Oh, got you.
Your
Like in
daughters
living
don't do
color?
that. Clock it.
I never seen that. That was cool. I love that. But what you
Clock
said?
it.
Clap it,
Clock it.
clack it. Clack it.
That's
Okay.
so funny.
All right. You teaching me, Mother Rose.
Listen, I had to put you on.
Yeah, I love it. After doing music for so long, you have to find ways to stay motivated, to say things you've never said before,
Mhm.
ways to tell different stories in an interesting way. And myself and David Tulane, my producer, my brother from another mother, out in Sweden,
Yes.
he we wanted to tell a story and create a project that was one long story. And we had the idea from the beginning. It started in COVID, so we started doing sessions virtually.
Mhm.
And we had the idea of literally doing a full length project where the story was one story and it had its
Mhm.
ups and downs, and it ended on a positive note. So obviously, to have a story that lasts 12 songs or 9 songs in my case, you're gonna
Yeah.
have some down moments and up moments. And but for me, I think if you plan to see something, the positive in something, you can find that everything in life is solid. You can learn from it. It's a growth opportunity, and it can be in a way spun to be a great experience, regardless of how it
Yeah.
ends. So I wanted to make sure the beginning and end of MMM was positive, although the story, the video is a little different.
We're gonna talk about that short film. I'm excited.
That's so Mizzle, by the way. But we've talked about doing a sequel, so it may end up. It may not be the end of MMM.
Mm.
Yeah,
That's going to be interesting. That's going to be interesting. And
yeah,
obviously, talking about the story, what kind of inspired it? Because we know you have a very happy family life. There's some ups and downs. Was this from just all the experience over your life, or were you just tapping into? Because obviously, in the film, you're another character. Isn't his name Malcolm?
yeah.
So were you
No.
tapping in with Malcolm and just getting creative? What did
When
that
I
look like?
when we recorded, Malcolm didn't exist in my mind. You
Mhm.
know, I just wanted to tell the story of a lot of relationships where it starts off blissful and incredible, and then it goes through a tough moment, and
Yes.
then it goes back up. And I wanted to really tell that story in a positive, like I said, in a positive way, and be real about it. So that's the album we made. And then when Omizzle, what's up, Caleb? By the way, that was Caleb. When Omizzle got a hold of the songs, he kind of chopped it up and did his own thing. And I told him, I want you to make your own visual story, however you see
Mhm.
it. And he was like, "Are you sure?" And I
Yeah.
said, "I'm positive, dude."
And you didn't even have spoilers, right? Like, didn't he keep
No.
it very tight? Like you're filming stuff and you don't know what the story is. What was that
Yeah.
like?
About halfway through, Mother Rosa, I was like, I have no idea what's going on. He's telling, and he wouldn't
You
tell
guys are
me.
in the corner store stealing milk, like
And it's so cool. I don't know if I shared this, but a shout out to Hawaii and the culture of the Hawaiian people. They are so laid back. That liquor store we literally found like the day before. It was
yeah.
close to where we were staying, and I asked the owner, look, I'm doing a short film. I need a liquor store. Is there any way I can use yours? And he's like, well, my store closes at 6, so if you can do it between 6 and 7, it's all yours. And I was taken aback by that, and I was like, really? And he's like, no, no joke, no problem, no problem. And and that's what we did. We got in within an hour, did all those scenes, and we're out. And it was really cool. But the Hawaiian people it was the perfect place because we were debating on where we should shoot MMM. I knew I
Mhm.
wanted it in a vibrant, exotic place, but we didn't know exactly where. Hawaii was always the front runner, and I'm just happy that we stuck with it.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, and it came out so beautiful.
Thank
Um,
you.
Going back to the album, what is one of your favorite tracks that stands out to you? Maybe not favorite, but what's one of the ones that carries a significance, especially looking almost a year later?
Yeah, Mother Earth, I
Had to
keep
grab the
looking
track
back.
list. I have it up in front of me. I know what my favorite song on the album is.
Well, tell me yours first.
It's One Last
Yeah,
Dance.
you know,
Oh my gosh. I could play that all day long and like the
well,
outro and the false ending. Like you guys killed that outro.
yeah, I appreciate that. It's cool to hear it from you. It's funny because that's my daughter's Dee Dee's favorite song.
Taste.
And-
Clock it, Diddy. Clock it.
well, we went to Nashville in the summer as a family during COVID. I think it was 2021, and my kids hadn't seen me really record. My younger
Mhm.
kids, so I had one session planned, so I wanted them to see, and I thought, Didi was into getting into like instruments and
Mhm.
horns and stuff like that. So we scheduled for the saxophone player Javon
Mhm.
Qualo is his name to record his solo for One Last Dance. So
Yeah.
he was doing it, and Didi's sitting there watching, and she's like, "This is my favorite song," and she stayed true to it. But
So good.
I have to say, and this is what I kept looking for was the actual CD so I can go through it.
Yes. Show
I
that
think,
again so they can go buy it. Look at how nice. So
yeah.
colorful. Yes, get into it.
All
Buy
right.
the album.
Let me see. Let me see, Mother Rose. And by the way, age is catching up with me. I gotta like squint to
Oh
see
my
these.
gosh. Pull out the readers. Pull out the readers.
I'm actually gonna need to get some soon. I think as much as I want to say One Last Dance for right now as well, something about Damage I've always liked.
It's
It's
really
the
good.
chillness of it, and then I think All Your Fault. All Your Fault is still one of my favorite
It's a
songs. That
banger.
that's still one of my favorite ones I've done. It just reminds me of a cool R&B pop song
Mhm.
that I'm happy with how it was done and executed.
Yes. And you've had such a diversity with your music. Like I said last night, we were playing some stuff that came out before and some of like, the acoustic stuff that you've done. Of course, Interrupt Me, which we'll talk about soon, is really
Mhm.
soulful. I know that you really took on like a lo-fi sound with MMM, and I
Yeah.
think that was inspired by Rio, if I recall correctly.
Royal. Royal.
Royal, my
Yeah,
bad.
Royal was
Your
maybe
oldest.
20, 21 into lo-fi and chill hop and playing a lot of it. And again, COVID had just started, so we were home and I was hearing that music come out of his room a lot. And it inspired the direction I was going because before that I was doing a lot of live, horn and
Mhm.
for the Pressure album.
Right.
And Royal helped me just pivot to a whole nother sound that I wouldn't have explored and got into. And Damage was the first song we had done. Damage and then I think Dream Girl, but they
Mhm.
both have that track that's quite lo-fi,
Right.
and that was that helped set the tone for the entire album. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's thanks to Royal.
It was a great choice. And last night we did third generation. So we're listening to like Austin, and he's got so many different sounds between
Yeah.
what he's producing and doing. And then we've got Paris, who's like
Mm-hmm.
grungy and rock. And then we were listening to like Deals and like
Yeah.
modern day poets. Have you gotten into cousin Marlon Jr.'s music?
No.
That's a fun time. We'll talk about that. He
Wait
has
a
a song
second.
that we
When did
play
Marlon
every month.
Jean? I'm not even aware of that. It doesn't surprise me.
2008. It was 2008. It's real Atlanta, real. It's
What?
fun. I gotta send you my favorite song. We play it every year. It's a
That is
holler.
so
But
cool. Modern poets.
modern day poets. I gotta link you. Look at me putting. Look, see, this is why I do Jackson January, because I have to take this information, all these tidbits that I know, and put them somewhere.
That's the highlight of my day so far. You
You're gonna
informing
laugh.
me that Uncle or
You're
Little
gonna laugh.
Marlon. Uh,
But there was
that's
just
so
a
cool.
diversity. That's what we kept talking about. There's
Mm,
such a diversity of sound, especially in the third generation. And so with the lo-fi, I feel like you continue to take that into a new direction. And I really love to see it. Like nobody can say that you guys are like
yeah.
resting on your laurels or
Well,
trying to repeat the past. You guys
yeah.
have all found your own vibes.
That's what I'm proud about, to be honest, because it's hard.
Mhm.
There's not a day that goes by where someone's not talking about my family's music or my family's influence. So for us as the next generation to find our own lane and our own voice, like you said,
Mhm.
whether it's Dills or modern day poets rapping or Pears doing her grunge
Tell
and
Siggy to put some more of his music on streaming. That's always my highlight of the year. There's only one song on Spotify. We got to call his old
that's it.
label. It's only the song with Jermaine and Jackie. That's how I feel. I
Oh,
think
okay.
is what it's called. That's the only
I'll
song
let
that has
Sig
been
know.
played.
I'll let him know. I'll let him know we got to get more deals up there.
Real bad. We love
Mm.
deals.
But yeah, and my brother, you can't forget Terrell, and who else?
Yes.
There's so many, and Jafar, of course, and there's
Mhm.
just, and I think there's going to be more. Your Majesty's very talented as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dee Dee's showing some interest in possibly doing music, and what's cool, I'm not going to give it away, but her style is different, from everything we've just talked about. So
Love it.
I think that's a really cool thing. There's a lot of great music and a lot of great styles of music, and
Mhm.
I think as long as people stay true to what makes them go and what makes them their heart happy, that's what matters.
Amazing, amazing. So let's talk a little bit about Interrupt Me, which I
Yeah,
love. That's I know literally up until I think today, that was the last single that you dropped.
it
It's
is.
hard to keep up. I mean,
I made a
I know your fans
promise.
know you drop a song every other week.
I try to drop a song every month. I
Okay.
really do. And I was recording since 2017 and I didn't drop till I think 2000 the end of 2019. So I got like a good 2 to 3 year head start. And
Mm-hmm.
with David, I work so quickly that if I don't drop every month, I'm just going to keep adding songs that may never come out.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of releasing, just an album once a year and then disappearing for 9 months, I'd rather just keep it going and let people just slowly digest my music on their own terms. And
Yes.
that's what I promised to do, and that's what I promise to continue to do, and I plan on doing that.
Yeah, so let's talk Interrupt Me, and then we'll talk in number one fan, because I know you didn't push it a lot beforehand. But Interrupt Me, I really love. I know you talked about being really, you've always talked about your soul inspiration. I feel like you
Mm,
really took an Al Green route, and like more soulful than I've maybe heard as overtly. There's always going to be
yeah,
soul in your music, but
yeah.
what was that like? Let's talk about that.
It's just to me, it's the best, most talented type of music there is soul R&B. I really believe that. Um, all around music, the emotion, the power, and I think that's why it lives on. That's Al Green
Hmm.
and the Motown and all
Yeah.
Stax, all that music is just it hits you in your soul. That's why it's called soul. And
Yeah.
I grew up on 90s R&B. I grew up listening to, like I said, Boys to Men and New Edition and SWV and
Hmm.
Bobby Brown, BBD, all that stuff.
That's right.
But that soul was what was playing when I was a little boy and little
Yeah.
kid, when I was 4 and 5. And I've never really leaned into my love for that. And as I've gotten older, it's been more apparent that I'd like to lean into that. And
Hmm.
Interrupt Me is one of, I mean, I think there's a little taste of it with Insomnia, but Interrupt Me goes to the next level, and there's a couple more that are coming out
Nobody
that
was
are.
listening to Insomnia. They watched that video. I'm just messing with you. They
I,
said we ain't think about that metal song. I'm just
that
messing with you.
it's funny you say that though, because I swear I didn't know. I have so much trust and faith in Omizel that I
Yeah,
don't need to know it. I've gotten to a place in my heart in life where I really enjoy just giving the reins to someone else who's
yeah,
passionate about something.
yeah.
No
And he takes
Mizzle's
great care of you. I loved y'all's live together. It's clear that it's difficult to trust your creativity and your baby
yeah.
with someone else, but it was clear that it was really important for him to get that story across and take good care of you as an artist.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I'm lucky to have him on my side and to have his support. And like I said, he's incredibly talented. He loves, respects, and enjoys doing my music videos and he loves my family. So I couldn't ask for anything better than to have Omizel as my visual, pioneer. And I'll always trust and respect and follow what he feels. I really will.
I love that. Oh, Mizzle and T Jizzle.
Yes.
And then, of course, number one fan. This is a
Hmm.
new. First, wait, real fast. What I was going to say is we need to bring the love back too. I'm always saying we got to bring
Yeah.
back the yearners. And what a powerful message. Like, I want you around so much. You can interrupt whatever I'm doing. You got the key to the door. I'll put it to the side because I just want to spend time with you. We need so much more of that, especially these days. So I love that you keep the love at the forefront.
Yeah, it's important. I got teenagers, so I go sometimes to pick them up, and if there's a school dance or something, I get saddened by the fact that they don't really have love songs.
Don't.
Like when we were that age, don't want to sound like an old man, but there was love songs. Like I said,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's SWV or Whitney Houston or Auntie Janet,
Mm-hmm.
R. Kelly. You had all these people singing love songs that became the soundtracks for us.
Yeah.
And
We
Silk.
don't have that.
We don't have that today, and my heart breaks for these youngsters, and I truly feel that they may be missing really expanding the capacity of their love
Yeah,
because they're missing it out on such an important time of their lives.
absolutely.
So with that said, I want to also do my part in helping that come back, because we all need love, and there's nothing wrong with you know I think you may have felt it too when you were that age, but sometimes you start feeling, things in your heart when you didn't feel it before, and sometimes music can help enhance that and provide a
Absolutely.
soundtrack to that. And I feel that's missing today, and it's kind of sad to me. So I will always, it's my favorite kind of music, but I'll always try to do
Yeah.
love songs to help people fall in love.
Yeah.
It's an important, beautiful thing.
Yeah. I always have been privileged to love old school music. Obviously, I'm here. I've been listening to the Jackson 5 since I was 12. And it was not when everybody else was listening to Justin Bieber. I'll say that. And the older I get, the more I find myself sticking with older music and
Yeah.
maybe not relating to some of the artists that are of my generation as much anymore because I'm in a place where I don't want to listen to that toxic stuff anymore. I texted TJ about 2 months ago and I asked what feels like probably a dumb question in hindsight. But I was like, how much are you guys influenced by Babyface? Because I had been listening to the Tender Lover album on repeat. And soon as I get home was the one that stuck with me. And that I'll buy your clothes, I'll do anything for you. It was right there. It was right there. It
Yeah.
was clicking. So we love the yearning over here. The yearning.
Yeah, and thank you for mentioning Babyface, because you can't talk about '90s R&B without mentioning Babyface. So I
Yes.
almost
Or
forgot him. But
3T,
what's
you know,
that?
or 3T. He
Thank
wrote
you,
some bangers for y'all.
my love.
So yeah, real fast before we move on to some more family related stuff, I just want to ask, or let's touch on number one fan. It just came out today. I know it's an acoustic
Mhm.
version of a song you already had. Let's tell
Yep.
them about it. Go buy
Y-
the single on all the streaming platforms. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. It's. I just released it today, and I've been so busy in life, I haven't been able to properly promote my music the way I wanted to prior to my father's passing. But it's not going to stop my schedule and what I
Mhm,
want to, like I said, release to everyone out there. And
mhm,
today I dropped number one fan, which is the
mhm.
acoustic version of a song I wrote 20 something years ago called Number One Fan. And as you said, Mother Rose, there's an original version that's been out for a while,
Mhm.
but today is the acoustic version. I love doing acoustic versions of my music. I have an album called Acoustic Sessions 1, and this Number One Fan will be part of Acoustic Sessions 2. And I plan on
Yes.
doing 3 total acoustic albums, so we'll see.
I love that. 3 acoustic, 3 T. It fits.
Thank you,
Other
Mother
hand.
Rose.
What do we have planned for 2025 other than a song a month? Do we have a
Yeah.
new album coming out? Anything you're looking forward to with the music tip? We'll talk about family rules shortly.
Yeah, so Valentine's Day is gonna be my next drop, and I'm releasing a song, likely an EP called Meaning of Love, but the EP is gonna consist mostly of songs that have already been released. Meaning of Love will be a new song that will drop on Valentine's Day. So I'll drop that. And then probably later this year, Lover's Paradise, which was supposed to come out on Valentine's Day, which is my next album
Okay.
of love songs.
Okay. It's giving me
And
Lovers Rock, Lovers Deluxe.
something of that nature, that's what we're shooting for. It's just an album full of love songs that hopefully make you fall in love and live in love.
Yes. You dropped one of my favorite songs of yours. I'm double checking to make sure I'm not lying on Valentine's Day 2 years ago. Ooh, did I turn off my camera on accident?
You did, but it's
I
okay.
did. But it's okay.
Mother
I'm
Rose,
here.
you sure I
My
did?
favorite TJ song ever. One
On
Last
Mother's
Dance is
Day?
my favorite on MMM, but it's I Adore You. Any given
Oh.
moment, I will throw that song on.
Hey, Mother Rose, was that on Valentine's Day?
Hmm.
It was, huh?
I remember when we connected the first time, I felt so nervous and I was like, well, do you want to like promote your music or something? You just dropped it. And you're like, no, we don't have to talk about music. It's okay. I'm not here for that. But yeah, no, I remember that's my song for sure. Like
I it's funny because that's slowly becoming one of my favorite songs too.
it's so good.
It's become one of my favorite songs that I've done, I should say, not of
It's
all
so
time. But
good. Every
I
time I put it on, doom, 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 it takes me somewhere. It's exciting. Love that song.
thank you, Mother. That means a lot. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
I
Thank
like your
you.
taste, by the way. I think we have similar tastes now that
You know, I
you said
try my
One Last Dance, you said I Adore You. I think those are
yes.
the same with me.
Dream girl, like you've got, and that's what I was saying. I was saying last night because I opened up the space with your music and closed it with your music. And I was like, I promise I'm not just saying this because I don't want him to block me. Like, I really enjoy your music. And I was saying before you jumped in, obviously, I was a big 3T fan, but I hadn't been keeping up as much. So after we connected the first time, I'm following your career. And I was like, this is real, again, like not just because I want to nurture some connection. You have a lot of bangers. And I really, really hope that as
Thank
the
you.
time goes on, that more people lend you that attention. I think you're severely underrated,
Well,
even
thank
though
you,
you're not
Mother
doing it
Rose.
for the numbers, for the props.
I sure am not, but hearing it from you is and people like you is the payment I need. So thank you
Yeah.
so much. And I'm excited for you to hear Meaning of Love. I think you're gonna like
I'm
that one.
excited. Listen, I'm tuned, and y'all heard it. Y'all heard it here first. We got an EP on the way, new album coming. All righty. So we're going to turn the tide. I'm going to follow your lead here, but obviously, we all have to acknowledge a huge, incalculable loss that we experienced this
Yeah.
past September, losing your father. I don't want to jump too deep, but first of all, how are you doing? How are you feeling? It's been a couple months.
You know, ups and downs. As
Mhm.
my pops, my father, I just found a picture. I'm by the way, everyone, I'm looking around because this is like my hangout man cave room, and I,
Mhm.
I got CDs, pictures, and all these kind of cool things that I could show, but it would require me to walking away, and I don't want to do that. But
Yeah.
I found a cool picture of my father and my me, and then I found another picture of my father and my 3 brothers and I, 2
Mhm.
brothers and I, the 4 of us, and I had never seen either one of those pictures, but they're really cool
Yeah.
pictures, and I you know, I have to say I'm very lucky and blessed to have had him in my life for 46 years, and I miss him every day. I think about him every day. He taught me so much, from humility to respect to hard work to being a strong source to being stable and
Mhm.
calm. And I miss him terribly. I love him, and yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Imagine.
It's tough.
Of course.
Losing now both my parents, it's kind of been a reality check and something that I have been dealing with, because now it's, you lose people so close to you, you get antsy's the wrong word, but you get overly
Mhm.
nervous
Yeah,
of
and I
who
know you already struggled with that,
I
with getting
did.
that phone
I still
call in the
do.
middle of the night. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
still do, and it's not just me. I've had this conversation with Taj. It's like we call each other, and it's one of those things where it's like we have to start the conversation with off, "Nothing's wrong. Just want to let you know nothing's wrong." And
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh, you call me like at 9 p.m. That's it's past norm when you normally would call me." So
Yeah.
that's not a fun feeling to deal with, but
Right.
like I said, I don't want to come off as complaining. That's not my goal. It's just something I'm working on. And
Mm.
as I've said, and I will always say, I'm incredibly blessed. I wouldn't change, my life for anything, but I've had some challenging times and moments, and I will continue to do what I can to live the best life and most healthy and positive life I can.
Mhm. And I'm sure you know we're sending so much love to you. He was such an incredible man. One thing I've said a million times. He seemed so solid from the outside looking in, and I've been doing this Jackson work for a while and doing research and blah blah blah. I've never heard one bad story about him. I've never heard anybody saying that he treated them rudely or that he, had an ego of anything. I've seen a lot of stories about how he was like a favorite uncle or a favorite brother, or
Hmm.
just somebody that they knew that they could go to. And so, and I remember when I found out, I mourned like I knew him, and I never even breathed the same air. So I can only
Hmm.
imagine how huge that is. But obviously, you mentioned losing your mother already, and you have the Didi Martez Foundation. You guys have always done a lot of work around that grief. So how would you say maybe that work support or prepared you for something that's so unpreparable? And do you plan to maybe incorporate that into your advocacy as you heal?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's obviously helped. We weekly, for those who don't know, every Wednesday, Taj and I, we do a live on loss and grief and how to deal with it, how to, I don't want to say move on, but how to navigate through it.
Mhm.
And, I like to say it has helped, but at the same time, there's nothing that can really prepare you for when it
Absolutely.
happens to you, and all the variables that come with it, the surprise
Mhm.
factor,
Mhm.
the unreadiness of it, the realness of it. It's challenging. One thing saying and talking about it, and one thing experiencing it. So, we all are gonna have to go through significant loss in our lives. It's just
Right.
part of life. And I still will say this and still truly believe that the more we are understanding of the process of loss and grief, and the more we can, I don't want to say attack it, but understand it and grasp it and not run away from it, the better off we will
Absolutely.
be. It's been super hard for me with my father for many reasons, but also there is an underlying next level when it's a public figure,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
even when I call and pay a bill, and they ask what's my full name, and it's Tito
Mhm.
J. Jackson, and they'll
Mhm.
say, "Oh, like Tito Jackson." And it's like, "Oh, he recently passed." You may not even know it's my father, and it's
Right.
like, "No, I know he passed away." And so it's like the realness comes back at you hard,
Yeah.
and that's like an everyday thing. That
Absolutely.
aspect of it has been challenging that I don't know if you can really prepare for.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what I will say, as I've had a long-term interest in being a grief doula, and I've always been interested in grief work and death work. I think that sometimes half the battle is being comfortable talking about it and even
Mhm.
acknowledging it. So I can imagine, again, there's no way to prepare, especially with the way that we lost Tito, but I can imagine that I'm sure you have a lot of resources, a lot of love. We're all praying for you, and I let you know, and you already know. I've never planned to not do Jackson January again, but it was really important to me because I kept seeing all this. Michael's brother, former member, like he broke the guitar string. We
Mhm.
wouldn't be here, and I mean
Mhm.
that was so amazing to me. Just that dedication to music, and I couldn't teach myself how to retie my shoes right now if
I
you
know.
task me with it. And even with YouTube and all these things, I don't know if I could teach myself how to play the guitar, especially knowing I'm not supposed to. And so it was really
Mhm.
important for me to understand like that one action and that dedication to his musicality is why we're all here. And it's always going to be important for me to celebrate the whole family, you know?
And I appreciate you saying that. And I think on top of that, the bravery. My grandpa was no joke.
I
And
said
for
that
him
too. Like, imagine, like I said, I couldn't teach myself how to play the piano with YouTube and all this time and space. I can only imagine if I knew that, if I'm living under that fear, but I just want to learn how to play these songs and I want to nurture this gift so much. And also, another thing is that your father and your Uncle Jackie were the only ones to never, ever, ever leave the group. Marlon had his solo
Oh
time.
wow.
Jermaine had his time. Of course, Michael left the band. Randy has done his own things. As far as I'm aware, anytime that group has come back together for albums, for music, for tours, those two were solid. Such is the
Yeah.
case in musical family dynasties. The Clark sisters, the only two that have, the only one that stayed through all of it was Jackie. So there's
Wow.
certain stuff with that. So that just that dependable pillar, brave and just so kind. Um, Super duper missed. What's something that your father, maybe advice or a Titoism, something that sticks with you? Maybe it's been over the last week, or something you keep.
I think to just be chill and be humble. It's not that he said those words to me. It wasn't like he said you got to always be humble, son. He just lived it. He was the father who would, like, if you needed batteries, would go to the store and try to find the batteries and flip flops and shorts and a tank top.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And he didn't care that he's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
yeah,
He didn't care. Or if he wanted to go fish, he just grab a pole and go. And that was something that was really cool for me. I've shared the story many times, but when you go from performing at Dodger Stadium, with 50, 60,000 people screaming, and then the next day you're coaching a little league game and
mhm,
team, that's a pretty cool, humble, side of and proof of it and living it. That
absolutely.
me as a kid, I see him on stage, being mesmerized like everyone else of his talent and what they're doing. And then I get to see him as a coach talking to other parents about when our next practice is. So
Yeah,
when you experience that as a son, and that's your role model, it's pretty powerful and impactful. So,
yeah,
you know, a lot of times we still get compliments about our personalities and how chill we are and humble, but
mhm,
really I don't feel we deserve that credit. I believe it's our parents,
yeah.
and a lot of that obviously goes to my father.
Yeah, someone made me smile. My girl Marilyn, Dreaming Edmond, she said she just Googled chill and Tito popped up as a synonym. Absolutely. Cool as a
That's awesome.
cucumber. And we rewatched the reality show from 2009. We're going to also watch it again on Sunday. And that was my favorite thing. Like Jermaine and Jackie are bickering, and Tito's like, I'm on tour with Gladys Knight. I got some, y'all gonna record this music. We here. If not, keep a check. Tito, keep a check, Jackson.
That's
Yeah.
it. That's
Yeah.
it. My pops was chill, man. He nothing was too big for him, nothing was too small. He was just boom, pops, Papa T.
Love it. Rest in peace, Papa T. We're talking about him
Yeah,
on Monday. I've been trying real hard not to get emotional, and I'm still
yeah.
doing a great job. So praise the
Thank
Lord.
you,
So
thank
let's
you.
transition to some maybe lighter family stuff. Thank you for, allowing me. I know this is one
Yeah,
of your first interviews. I wanted to handle it as gently as possible. But you
thank
are
you.
a family man on all fronts. Yo daddy's son, but you are also the patriarch of the Jackson family rules. This is another thing
Yeah,
I more recently have started getting into. I knew you had the family channel, but
yeah,
more recently I've subscribed. So for those of you guys that don't know, TJ, his wife Fran, and his children have a YouTube channel. They go live every week, and it's super fun. That's where you
it
get into a
is.
different side, because all of us know 3T. Many of us know about the solo career and the shows, but then to just see you like on live in the car, he's almost always taking somebody to or from soccer practice, or they're like just getting food.
Yeah.
And it's super down to earth. I'm not sure how long you guys have been doing it, but what inspired it and what's been cool about doing it over the years?
We've always wanted to just kind of just talk and be us and show our realness and show our vibe, show our ups and downs and show our family life. We love family. We believe in family. We think kids are amazing, and family's not the easiest thing. The dynamics can get challenging. Parenting is difficult, but there's something overly beautiful about the whole process.
Yeah.
And we've always thought about doing some type of vlogging and some type of channel on YouTube, but it wasn't until the pandemic happened that we were like, let's just go for it. We're stuck in this house anyway, and
Mhm.
we might as well go for it. So we did. And we had a lot of fun. We had a good time. We started off with just doing lives and just connecting with
Mhm.
people out there. And then we just started doing vlogs. And it's funny because still to this day, not only, do people, I went to a restaurant and someone was like, I love your guys' channel. I don't even think they knew I was a musician. They just knew
Wow.
me by the family rules.
Yes.
And then on top of that, though, my kids love to watch it. I was watching Rio, watching an old Vegas when we went to Vegas and laughing and having a good time. And I think
Love
that's
it.
so cool because in 15, 20 years, he's
Mhm.
going to be
Having
able
all
to
that
watch himself
documented.
when he was 7 years old and his
Yes.
trip to Vegas with the family. And there's something cool to me about that. So,
Yes.
and a lot of people, not a lot of people, but sometimes people are like, your kids, they should have a say of what man, when you're a Jackson, you don't got no say.
I was going to ask you that. Like, obviously, with the generation above you and your siblings and cousins and so forth, you guys have always experienced that fame and kind of like the dad side of the family. So, what has it been like to, kind of introduce them to the public, especially as they're getting older? I see you're trying to like delegate and get them to hold the phone and teach them how to stream. It's so adorable. It really
Yeah,
is.
yeah, because they gotta it's part of their heritage, it's part of who
Yeah.
they are, whether they know it. And look, when I was growing up, I thought my parents did a pretty good job of downplaying the Jackson,
Hmm.
legacy to me, where I truly did not know the impact of my family until my probably early 20s, even after 3T started. This is when I started going on the road and seeing my Uncle Michael performing and hearing stories. And then when I moved to Texas, you'll like this, mother. I moved to Texas when I was 21, when Royal was just a baby. And there was a local basketball gym I'd go to. And when I pulled up one day, this guy was bumping the Triumph album. And I'm hearing my family and songs that you don't hear on the radio,
That doggone album.
and he's playing the songs out of his truck and just changing his shoes and singing along. And I'm thinking,
As he should.
you
That's
know,
me every morning.
and it was so cool. This is in some random city in Texas. No one knew I was there, so it wasn't like because of me. And it was just really cool to experience that. And
Mhm.
understand what my family means
Yeah.
to so many. And as I've gotten older, I've started to understand that, and it's going to be the same way with my kids. I mean, we saw
Yeah.
Auntie Janet a week ago in Vegas, and it was I remember we're all watching Auntie Janet, and then I always look around the crowd to see the people and what they're feeling. And there was this guy just singing every single word and dancing. And I tapped Didi and I said, look, just so she can feel that, to know that
Yeah.
that's Auntie Janet, and that's her, a big fan of her. And it looks
Yeah.
like someone, she a teacher, or someone she would see,
Yeah.
on a sitcom. So I think it's important because my kids are gonna start really understanding who they are and
Yeah.
what comes with that
Especially in
name.
the age of social media, they're gonna come back and be like, "Have you seen this clip of Latoya
I'm
on
telling
Big
you,
on
man.
Celebrity Apprentice with Nene?" Like,
I'm
I would be
telling
gagging.
I'm telling you, there's no, and it's, I don't want to say there's no way around it and it come off like it's a negative thing. It's just that's our
Mhm.
story. That's our life.
Mhm.
And
Hard.
instead of trying to
Listen,
run
adopt
away from
me
it,
and I'll show you how hard it is. No, I'm just kidding.
well, instead of trying to
Like,
run away with it, I think the better route is just to embrace it and do
own it.
something positive about it.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I don't waste those opportunities with my kids to say, yeah, you're a Jackson, and people around the world will be interested in what you may have to say one day. And what are
Mhm.
you going to say
Yeah.
something that's positive, that inspires them to do well.
Yes.
And that's something I can't control if all my kids or anyone I influence in my family does that, but everyone knows that's what I preach.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I'll always preach. And that's what
And
my
we
uncle
see it.
Michael told us, and my father and my
Mhm.
mom. So I'm gonna keep that's an important message.
Yeah. And I see you instilling those values. One of my favorite moments, and then we'll move on to some kind of, we have only a little bit of time left. I'll do some rapid fire questions, then maybe some
Yeah.
Q&A from the audience. But you guys went to Jersey Mike's or something,
Yeah.
and you sent the girls in to go get the order, and they
Mhm.
came back with the wrong kids meal and no drink. And it was just such a gentle admonishment. And it wasn't that you were mad that the order was wrong. Maybe you were like wanting your drink, right? Your soda. But what I enjoyed was it being a lesson about like paying attention and being accountable. Like even
Yeah.
and just this father moment where it was like you could have yelled at them or you could have given
Yeah.
them an attitude. You turned it into something that was so teachable. And I think that that's admirable as well. You can spread love and also just spread family and raising up a child the way they should go. They're so sweet. Your daughters are so sweet.
Thank you, Mother Rose. And just to add, for any parents out there, and you all probably know this, but if you're a young parent, because it took me time to understand this, there is such value and such an importance in making sure our kids are accountable. Rio was in a jiu-jitsu class and complaining about another kid and what they did and how they did this to him or how they ignored him. And I said, "What did you do? Or,
Yeah.
what was your role and why that happened?" And, he's like, "Well, it's the kid's fault." I was like, "No, but what did you learn from it?" And another kid hit his toy at the park. And I said, "So, he was mad at the other kid for hiding his toy." And I was like, "So what did you learn from this?"
Yeah.
And it took him a while, but he eventually got to the point, "Don't bring my toys to the park."
Yeah. Keep an
Maybe,
eye on them.
maybe
Pay
that's the
attention.
lesson. If you're gonna bring your toy, you're risking it not being coming
Yeah.
back home.
Yeah.
And I don't want it to, obviously his toy should be there, but that's how life works. Sometimes things happen. We can't control everything. So let's see how we can fix it
Yeah.
if that matters to
Yeah.
it.
Take
But
a look at ourselves and make a change and
that's
whatnot.
it. You have to. So I want my kids to really be accountable and really understand what they could have done to in all instances. I think it's healthy for them,
Yeah.
especially in this time where people are so sensitive and so prideful to be right all the time. There's nothing wrong with being wrong and saying I learned
Mhm.
from that.
Yeah. And yeah, that is a huge skill. It's really hard to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, this is my fault. Or I could have
Mhm.
been more accountable. And the sooner you learn that, it's a real big part of wisdom. It's one thing
One
to know that you
Yeah,
can't know everything, but learning
that's
how to
right.
pull those lessons is important. And we all know TJ got Fitty Lim kids, and we
Yeah.
all know that you stepped up to take care of your Uncle Michael's kids. So to see that side of you as a dad is always really, really great. One of my
Thank you,
favorite things
Mother
about you.
Rose. Thank you.
All righty, so let's get into some fun questions. Last year, I asked some really fun rapid fire questions. I tried to come up with some stuff that was new.
Okay.
Um,
I
and then
remember
we'll
enjoying
go
that
over.
too.
Hmm?
I remember enjoying
It
that.
was fun. It
Yeah.
was fun. I asked you a lot of this or that questions, and we had you stumped. I don't have any this or that, but I'm going to ask some questions, and then with whatever time we have left, we'll try and take some questions from the audience. So you guys
Cool.
get those ready. Um, so I want to know, we already talked about the third generation. That was last night. Which cousin of yours, whose music are you listening to the most maybe these days?
I just realized this camera's slanted. Which cousin do I listen to the most?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good question. And not brother, right? Because I would say it's
It could be
Terrell.
a brother.
I
Lifetime
would
Lover is
I
really
would
good.
say Terrell first. I'm such a big fan of Terrell. His I think he's such an underrated songwriter. It's incredible how quickly and great and melodic and catchy he comes up with things. So
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of my brother's stuff. And
I loved his single from last year. I hope he keeps rolling with the solo career because he's got such a
yeah,
lovely voice and such a strong basis of his talent. I'd love to see more
he
from Terrell.
does. I mean, I was just talking to him a couple hours ago, and he's playing the guitar, and he Terrell's music, so he'll never go too far away from it. And I think
Yes.
more music will be coming soon.
Yes, tell him Mother Rose is rooting for him. And I saw him at the show in October. We wanted to give him a hug so much. We're sending our love. He did a great job, though. Did a great job.
Yeah.
Okay, I got some questions about you and your wife, Fran.
All
Okay,
right.
from Family Values, I got a couple. Between you and Fran, who is better at giving advice?
I giving advice.
Giving advice. Taking it is a whole nother conversation.
She's probably better at taking for sure.
Okay.
Giving, I, I honestly think it's her, but I think more people would say me. That's just the
Mm,
honest. But I think she. Let me. I don't know. I think it's got to be her. Francis was personal training and as a personal trainer, she became like a therapist. You know,
Yeah.
people trusted and loved her because Frances has an incredible ability of being super direct, but not being offensive
Yeah.
and allowing you to take it. You know, so
Mhm.
I'm gonna say it's her for sure. I mean, people love to hear my advice and ask me for questions and advice, but I think Franny has me on that. I really do.
Yeah, that's such a thoughtful answer, especially as a trainer. You got to really get to the core. Um,
Mhm.
who's better at planning trips?
Oh, that's me for sure.
Okay,
That
you're
one's
the
me.
planner. You're the
Yeah,
coordinator.
I mean, she'll say it's because I'm what's the word? Controlling, I guess.
Ah,
But I just I just if you're gonna do a trip, I want to do it right and see what I'm supposed to see. And I care about sights and seeing things more than she does.
okay.
She's pretty chill. I mean, she likes to go on places, but if we're gonna be in the middle of Arizona, I want to know what's there that could be seen because I may
Love
not
it.
come back. She don't care. She'll just wake me up when I'm where I'm supposed to be.
I love it.
So I would say me.
And who has a better memory? Who's better at remembering dates and times and appointments?
Uh, With the usage of a calendar, it's me, but without a usage of a calendar, it's her. She'll
Okay.
remember things for sure back in the day better than me. But you know, if there's an appointment or something because of the calendar, it may skip her
Yeah.
mind. What for me, I'll
Yeah.
get that alert.
Real
And
type A. Uh-huh.
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
that's me. I'll
Yes. I
take
love
it.
it. Who's the messiest in your household out of everybody?
That's me. Uh,
Not him trying to change the knee-jerk reaction. Your gut
no,
told you
it's me.
this.
Rio Rio's a close second. Didi can get messy, but it's still me. I'm a mess.
Okay. Okay.
I just got too much going on. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. Like I said, Tito, keep a job, Jackson Jr. I'm going to ask you some music questions and then we'll see what they have to say. What's a
Okay.
song that instantly takes you back to your childhood? Could be by your family or not.
Hmm. I don't know why this came up, but I would say going places.
The
By the
song?
Jacksons.
I
Yeah.
like the feeling I get in the
Yeah.
morning. I love that song.
Yeah.
Talk
I'm gonna
about
just
balling.
that just came up on the top of my head, so I'm gonna say going places by the Jacksons.
I feel like that's a song that I would love a lot growing up as a kid. Going, going, going. Like it
Yeah.
just seems so groovy,
Imagine
right?
if you know what I was a couple years old, 3, 4, whatever I was, or
Yeah.
that's my memory of hearing it and just hearing that song and things that happen around the
Taste.
house, and that's what's playing.
Taste.
Yeah.
Taste. What's a hidden gem from the family catalog or even from your own catalog that you wish more people knew about?
You know which one I love is the Jacksons album, 2300 Jackson Street. That's the name of the album, right?
I tried to tell the girls.
That album is so underrated. Private Affair. I think it's Secret Rendezvous.
My song
Um,
is Nothing Compares to You. I
Nothing.
love that song.
Uh,
And when I met Jackie and Marlon and I got them to do a video with me about Jackson January, I said, that's where the groove comes from, baby. And Jackie just started laughing. Yeah, the girls don't see Michael and they don't want to play it, but there's a lot of really wonderful, wonderful, wonderful
oh, that
material on
album
that
is so great.
album.
That album is so great. So I would say the 2300 Jackson Street album.
Yeah, I love that. I'm
Mm.
always telling the girls, honestly, really, Tito has a really wonderful catalog. He took
Mhm.
the longest to start. He has some wonderful solo music, and I'm always advocating for Jermaine. Everybody
Mm.
likes to give Jermaine a hard time, but he's got so many bangers. My gosh. If you could redo one 3T music video, what would it be and why?
That's a good question. Never been asked this. One 3T video, Sex Appeal.
Okay. That song
Close
is
second has
so
got to
good.
be you. Really?
That song is so fun. I had never heard it until very recently, and I was like, that gives like early 2000s on the beach. Like, yeah, I love that song. It's fun. Look at his
And,
face.
and got to be used a close second. I mean, it was silly, cheesy, but that was also the time, and we were young, so we got away with it. But I would say Sex Appeal 1 got to be you too.
Yeah. Yeah, 3T has a lot of hidden bangers. Another song I recently started liking was I Appreciate You. You
Yeah.
used that in your anniversary reel, and I was like, that, yeah,
Yeah,
that's getting
that's another. I mean, if you ask what's a sleeper song from the 3T catalog, that would be up there for me. I've always loved I Appreciate, And yeah, that's a cool one.
I love it. I love it. All
That's
right,
a
let me
cool one.
get to some of these questions from your fans. Your people came in strong. Sequoia, Serena.
Yo, I
There's a
got
lot of
amazing.
people in the building for you.
Now that you said that, I just want to give a shout out to them. I love my community. I love you all so much. I know I have been kind of MIA. I haven't been as active as normal, but I'm regrouping, re-energizing, and I promise you, I
Yeah.
think of you all every day. I miss you. I love you, and thank you for being you because you always
Yeah.
bring a smile to my face.
Yes, and they go so hard for you. And make sure to invite me. Y'all have Discords and Facebook groups. I'm a. What do you call your fan base?
Well, loyalty is one thing, but also I think they call it Izzles.
The
Izzles is another.
Izzles. That's what I was gonna say. The T Jizzles. That's literally TJ's name in my phone. Literally, it's been T Jizzle for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love they go so hard for you, and I think, like I said, you deserve it. You deserve the street team.
Thank you, Mother Rose.
So, Dreaming Edmund asked, "How would you prepare your kids for the entertainment industry outside of vlogging?"
Yeah. So I think they got to be really secure with their why and very real with the work they're going to put in. You know, you can't
Okay.
expect just their expectations. You know, if you're trying to be, a huge pop star, you better put in a lot of work. You better be ready to wake up at 4 a.m. and please people, and you better be ready for some setbacks and some it's a different world. But if you're doing it for
Mhm.
the love of it, make sure
Yeah.
that's the truth. And you're gonna always have haters, whether you are a huge pop star or you're just starting out. You're not doing it for them, you're doing it for you. As I always tell them too, is imagine what it takes to go on someone's YouTube channel or YouTube song or on their profile and type something negative to them. It's like you got to be a different kind of person to waste energy to type something mean to someone.
Yeah.
And and when you think about it that way, I think it kind of reframes what that person is about, and it kind of devalues their
Right.
their importance in your own mind.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense. It's wonderful advice.
Yeah,
Jada, my girl Jada, she's one of my PYTs. I have a group chat called PYT headquarters, and then we
I
have the
love it.
Hee headquarters. So it's for my girls. Jada asked, "What's one thing that you did not like, and one thing that you enjoyed about filming The Next Generation on Lifetime?"
What I enjoyed was that camping trip with all the cousins. That was a
That
lot
was
of
fun.
fun.
The paintball.
Yeah, that and our trip to Vegas with my father and Royal. We had a really good time. We recorded a little bit of Power of Love in the studio, and Eddie Levert was there. It's really cool. But what I didn't like was the constant pressure for drama that a lot of
Yeah.
reality TV shows will do.
Yeah.
So that was just probably the worst thing of it, was just the negative, the pull for the negative, and the pull
Mhm.
for Jacksonisms,
Yeah.
and
Come on, Jacksonisms.
yeah.
Jacksonisms.
So and for instance, I'll give you an idea. When we did the show, it was when Rio was first born, and Rio was
Mm-hmm.
born with
And you breaking that news.
unilateral hearing loss.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the questions, it was I was answering questions about my honest and true feelings of what it was like as a father who just had a baby who can't hear and is really tough. And one of the questions they kept asking me was, as a Jackson, does it hurt you more because he can't do music the same or something? And I thought about it, and I was like, that's just not a question I feel right to be asked or answered. It's like
Yeah.
I don't care what his last name is or what he becomes.
Yeah. You just
My
want your baby
son
to be
has
healthy.
unilateral hearing loss. You know what I mean? Don't
Mhm.
It's not about Jackson or music right now. It's
Right.
about life with profound hearing loss. So those kind of things were just kind of annoying, but
Yeah.
that's part of it.
Yeah. Especially with your family at the forefront.
Yeah.
We've got From My Life, My Hurdles, and My Survival. Hi,
Mommy.
Foofy. What
What up,
country
mommy?
I love that nickname. What country would you love to visit next with Franny and or the kids? I don't know if they maybe a
Yeah.
couples trip and then a family trip.
Mommy, there's so many. I've never Look, as much as I want to say it's, places we've been that we've missed, from Spain, and we've never been to Greece. We have family friends that are in Greece that we want to go visit. But if I can pick one country to take my kids and Franny to, they may want Tokyo, or Japan, I should say. I would want Africa. I've never been to Africa, and that's a place that I want my whole family to go visit. So
Any particular country?
no, no, Kenya,
Mhm.
um, even Nigeria, I want to go. I know it's not, a destination place, but for me, I want to experience Africa. So
Oh,
I have to do a bit
motherland.
more research on where to
Our
go.
Uncle Marlon. Isn't he down there all the time, or he used to travel there a lot?
I'm not aware, Mother. So
You
know,
gotta come watch the reality show with us on Sunday. He was out there. Like I said,
oh,
it was
was
like
he?
Tito was on tour. It gave this sense of like Marlon and Tito had their own stuff going on with family and their other work
Hmm.
endeavors. And then like Jackie and Jermaine were super passionate about the music. We had a lot of fun watching it. But yeah,
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
I'll let Uncle Marlon tell him I said, what's up?
I will.
So funny. Okay, Sanaya, my daughter. She asked, "What is one of your favorite studio session memories? It could be from your 3T days or your solo memories."
Sanaya, what's going on? I love your name, Sanaya.
That's my
My
girl.
Probably my favorite memory was at Record One in Sherman Oaks, recording my Uncle Michael. Yeah, we recorded him singing the last part of Why, the very last phrase in Why. And he did it, I think,
Hi.
I think he did it in one take. And he was like that? Was that okay for you guys? And I remember my brothers and I saying, yeah, it was perfect. He goes, you sure? You got to really like it. And we were thinking, I don't know how we can like it anymore. That was perfect. But it was a cool memory because we were producing Uncle Michael,
Mhm.
and Uncle Michael showed the importance of humility. And although he was the king of pop and the biggest artist,
Michael
you know,
V.
at that
Jackson.
time, exactly, he was still asking, "Is this what you want?" And we were pretty much teenagers, and we were like, "Yeah, that's perfect." So just the experience of feeling that, and then also, just the lesson that you learned. And then the other one, real quick, was him singing that outro, the part in "I Need You." He did that in one
Insane.
take, and Max Martin, who was a co-producer on that, who is one, if not the most successful producer. I mean, obviously Quincy's up there, but
Yeah.
Max Martin has hits from decades of some of your biggest pop songs.
Mhm.
Uh, he was literally brought to tears and said this was his dream. This is his dream.
What?
This is what he dreamed about.
I'd be crying too.
Was crying. Was
I Need
crying.
You was insane. And that vocal performance,
Yeah, one
don't get
take,
me to
guys.
don't get me to doing my Michael impression, but I love that song.
One take. So just it's gotta be those days. I wish I was a bit older. I mean, I was 15, maybe 16, but I think anything came out when I was just turned 16, so I was 15, and I I uh I didn't understand or know how powerful and
Yeah.
important those memories would be in my life at that
Yeah.
time. So they're kind of fleeting memories, but they're there.
Yeah,
They're
they stay
strong
with
enough to
you.
remember.
Yeah, and that MJ humility. Me and my friends always joke me in the PYTs because we all think we're Michael Jackson's wife retroactively
I
somehow.
love
And
it.
we're like, me and my friend Tavi are always like that humility. Like we would have been like, boy, what are you talking about? Like, do you hear yourself? Do you know who you are? But I love that. I love that he kept that.
Yeah.
Especially around you guys. You guys were young and impressionable and all those things. I got maybe let's do two. I have three more that I think are interesting and then we'll
Let's
cut it
do
off.
it. Let's do it.
So, from Spin King, I thought this was a thoughtful question. How are you feeling about the fires? Is everybody okay? And do you have anything you want to say about that?
Yeah, Caleb, what's going on, man? Caleb, the fires they've been crazy. I think we're at the end of it, I hope. It seems like they've been dying down. Where I live, they haven't really gotten too close, but where I used to live, they were right there. Friends and families have not only evacuated, but a couple of friends and a family member lost their home. So it's been really tough. and a reminder that what happens today, what we have today, may not be with us tomorrow. So it's been a crazy experience, and I'm hopeful that it's behind us, at least for now. And then I'm hopeful that the people who really were affected by it are getting the help they need, and I pray for them.
Absolutely, absolutely. And he asked it again and had added that he's sure that Uncle Michael would have really invested. The Earth song
Yeah.
is coming in strong. I saw people talking about that, but this one I love. Would you ever write a book? What would it
Mhm.
be about? From
Martina,
Honey
I
Bun
was just thinking about, I've been trying to write a book for years now, probably 3 or 4 years, and I've started. Writing a book is no joke, and not only is it take a while, it takes time, but also I would want it to be impactful and to be something that really helps people. I've kind of come to terms that it's something I'm gonna have to put off till my 50s. I think the 50s decade will be the decade of me as an author. I've
Okay.
been reading a lot and still learning and accumulating knowledge. And I think the 50s is a good time. And if I enjoy it, then I'll keep it going for the 60s and 70s. But I intend to have, multiple books. I really would. I think books, like music, is a way for you to have a lasting legacy. And I would always want to do a parenting book. I want to do a book on relationships, but I want to do a book on life and what I've learned. And I think I've shared this, but if not, I'll share a bit of it. Maybe I haven't, but I want to do a book on my uncle. I don't want to necessarily release it while I'm still here, to be honest, because I don't want, the eyes that go with it. But I would want to write a book, and if I ever pass, for it to be there, to
Yeah.
be released, because I feel he's such a magical, powerful, beautiful soul and person that I feel as many testimonies of that can exist should exist.
It's
And
important.
I, as someone, as his nephew who spent time, a lot of time, thousands and thousands and thousands of hours with him, from the time I was a baby to the time I lost him, we lost him, I should say, what is it, 15 years ago? I can't believe
It'll
it's
be
already that
16 this
15
year
years.
is crazy.
But those 25 to 30 years I had him in my life, I only saw beauty, just amazing grace, love, and knowledge, and just incredibleness. And I want to make
Mhm.
sure my TJ Jackson's
Yeah.
stories and words are lived on and passed on. So if anyone in 100 years or 200 years looks up Michael Jackson, someone can say his nephew was with him for many hours
Yes.
said
Yeah.
this.
For many hours is killing me.
Yeah. Because it's true though, because you got people who are on here that are just don't they never met my uncle and just saying what
And
they
running
think,
that mouth.
just running them out like they knew him, like they knew him, and
It didn't.
and I always say this, I was with my uncle at my most vulnerable times, my most challenging times, my most private times.
Yeah.
He
You
knew
guys
secrets that
becoming
no one
dads
else
around the
knew.
same time. I remember you talking about that last year.
Yeah, he was, someone I heavily relied on my entire life and confided in, and vice versa in some instances. And I wouldn't share that stuff, but my point is that I knew Michael Jackson very well. Still saw say that name, but I knew Uncle Michael, and I want to make
Ooh,
sure my testimony is there.
I love it. I love it. I love it. That's so beautiful. I've been on the fence about getting my PhD or not.
Do
And I
it.
think I'm gonna do it. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do it. I'm looking at a program where I can get a joint degree in
Nice.
ethnomusicology and in African American studies, and I'm about certain that my dissertation will have something to do with Uncle Michael. So I'll holla at you.
Yeah, I'm here. I love that too, Mother Rose. Please do it. Please do it.
Y'all heard it here first. I'm going to get my PhD. TJ endorsed it. Okay, there's so many good questions. I'm going to ask you one more, and then I'll let you tell people where they can follow you, what you want to push, what you want to see. Again, he got 50, 11 kids, y'all. I know one of them is probably finishing up a game right now. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
Um,
well, yeah, we got to get going to a practice, but yeah,
I knew it.
you're not
See?
wrong. You're not
I'll
wrong.
be knowing. I'll be knowing. I like this question a lot. From Lulu. If you were to meet someone you never met before who is no longer with us, who would it be?
Oh, that's a good question, Lulu. Oh man, it'd be Martin Luther King.
Mm.
I'm just thinking a bit more, but it would be Martin Luther King. I would love to talk to him about his strength, his Martin Luther King or Malcolm X. It'd
If
be one of
Martin
those
Luther
two.
was living, Tito
Yeah.
would have some questions. No, I love
Well,
that.
I would
I love
ask them both. I think they're both brilliant minds, and I would prep the meet for the meeting even more so, but really try to
Yes.
understand about their bravery and knowing that they put their life, they both were assassinated, and I would like to know the strength and bravery they had back then to know that there's a chance that that happens, but they still want to make the world a better place and make
Yeah.
it more fair for everyone. And that's a powerful thing to know that you could, both as fathers, you can put yourself. That's an impressive and an interesting thing for me to want to know more about and just to
Yeah,
pay my respect and thanks to.
absolutely. Somebody said, I had a dream girl.
That's great.
Shout out to Madam Aura. I know she's
I
a big
love it.
fan too.
I love it.
Well, man, this was so fun. I just have to
Yes.
say a big thank you. Jackson January means a lot to me. I think a lot about how younger me first getting into Michael and the Jacksons that would think I'm so cool, even just for
Mm.
being able to host events to talk about the Jacksons and create space. And to know that I've been able to communicate with you, and it means a lot to me that I have your support and your respect, and that you're one of the
Always.
earliest. I don't know where Jackson January is going to go, if we're going to make it to year 5, year 10, who else we might be able to bring on here, but it'll always mean a lot to me that you were one of the early supporters. And I always remember at the end of our first phone call, you saying, like, I see your love, I see your respect. And so it just means a lot to me to speak with you and to have your respect and your support. It's always a pleasure having you on. You're so sweet, such an open book, and I'm really grateful we've been able to stay connected and that you supported this work I do.
Absolutely. Well, Mother Rose, I thank you for those words, and I want to thank you for, like I said, and what you just said, the love you have for us as a family and for what
Mhm.
we do. I felt it from day one. I can feel it today. And it's, without you, we don't go too far. We need people like you and your love for us to thrive.
Absolutely.
So, I could do many interviews with many different people at this time in my life, but I'd much rather talk with you. And I've actually
Yes.
shared that before. I think I was doing an interview with someone, and I knew they loved me. I knew they loved my family, and they asked a question in a way that they regretted and felt so bad. And I
Mhm.
said, I promise you, don't worry. I know your heart. I know you didn't mean it. It's a difference when you know where the heart is
Mhm.
coming, and that's something I want to say thank you to. And for everyone that's probably watching this, especially live, and for all you supporters of my family, you all mean the world to us. And I hope you really truly understand that we love you with everything
Yeah,
we have. Mother Rose, thank you for Jackson January. Keep doing
it
your
means the
thing.
world.
We will be watching, and I hope you go on for many, many more years and
Yes,
get
it
that
means a lot.
PhD.
Yes, I'm gonna get that PhD. I'm telling you, and
Yeah.
especially with, the biopic is coming, there's
Yeah.
gonna be such a renewed interest, and there's gonna be, they've got the musical, we've got, so
Yeah.
many spaces. It's important to me that we understand the legacy at large. I got Janet on my front, I got
Yeah.
Michael on my back,
I
and
love it.
it's just really important to me. My mother, when I went to go see the Jacksons back in October, my mom, she called me right before I got to the resort, and she reminded me that her very first concert when she was 6 years old was the Jackson 5 at the Apollo. And
Wow.
52 years later, I'm even bigger of a fan than her at this point. And
Wow, that's beautiful.
I don't know if you knew this. I'll tell you this and I'll let you go. I have a family connection to your family. So when
Really?
Michael was filming The Wiz in New York and came out with LaToya, they stayed at a place called Sutton Place. And my great grand aunt, and I grew up around my great grandmother, so she passed away maybe 2 years after I was born. She was one of their, if not the main, like, domestic worker maid. And First of all, Michael and Latoya signed some records and some posters for all the kids in our family. So my mom, her sisters, everybody.
That's cool.
Nobody knows where they are. Like, it's a painful
Oh.
family topic, and it's something that comes up with. They had all these autographs. This would have been the Going Places era and promotional pictures and stuff like that. And he was so gracious, signed a whole bunch of stuff. And your grandmother liked my great grand aunt. Her name was oh my gosh, Mama Nancy is what we all call her. She loved Mama Nancy so much that when they got back to Havenhurst, she wrote a letter and invited Mama Nancy to come to Havenhurst and work for the Jackson family. And again, this is 1977. She didn't know what was coming, but she turned it down because she wanted to stay close to her family. She was heavily involved in her church. And again, we talk about it all the time. I could have been down at Encino.
Wow.
So it means a lot. It's huge. And that's why it's important to me, because if we don't tell these stories and if we don't talk about, of course, there's always going to be a certain level of respect for the great work and achievements of Michael and Janet. And of course, even the Jackson Five, but people not understanding those little, Jermaine discovering Switch and the third generation. There's so many things to keep track of. And I'm going to keep doing it for as long as the people allow me. So thank you so much for being here, and thanks to all the loyalties.
Yes,
all my PYTs, my hee-hees. So many different names around here. We call ourselves the hee-hees.
The hee-hee, I like that.
There's
too.
the Moonwalkers and the MJ fam, but I like to say the hee-hees. It means that like we're a little younger, chronically online.
I like that too. That's fun.
We like to have a good time. So thank you so much. Do you have anything else you want to share where people can follow you? What's coming up?
No, I mean, you can go to tjjackson.com. You can sign up for the newsletter. And that's where I like to write a newsletter, try to do once a week with everything that's going on in my world, in my life, music, visuals, vlogs, all that good stuff. You can find it there. Just sometimes my thoughts. So that's it. I just want you all to be, happy, be grateful, continue to grow, enjoy your time. And thank you all for being you, and thank you for being here.
Yes, and thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
And they're reminding me, I wasn't even going to say it, but like, comment, subscribe. I would like to use YouTube more in the new year, and this was a big part of it. I was like, we keep talking. I was like, I want to see your face. I want to, and then have it be accessible, because it's hard to get somebody to go watch a replay of a space if they don't even know what a space is. Well, we're on YouTube now, so
yeah, cool.
We love to see. Thank you for being a part of that growth. Didn't mean to put that up there. I'll just put this up here and we'll head out real fast. I just want to show you guys the events that we have coming up, and then I'm going to go because I've been up all day. But of course, Jackson January is not over. Let me go ahead and flip on down to the most recent stuff. So obviously we just covered TJ. We had him here with us.
What you got next?
Next, we are watching Jackson Family Dynasty on the Discord this Sunday. If you guys missed it back in October, do you remember the reality show from 2009?
I do. I don't remember specific scenes too much. I remember there's a scene of us in the studio with my father.
Yes.
But I don't remember too much of it.
It's a really good show. It's a really fun watch. We watched it. I did a live stream on your father's birthday, and when we watched it that weekend, and I was like, let's do like a drinking game, every time they bicker, and so I did a little drinking, and then I got sad. I was thinking it was going to be funny, but it was actually really sad. But not really sad, but it was a lot to watch, especially in the wake of losing Tito. But it's a fun show. It's really awesome to see the dynamics, to put some faces and names. And it's hard to find. It's not on any streaming services. We had to buy the DVD and stream that. Wow. So don't tell them. I don't want to get sued. We're honoring your father on Monday, Martin Luther King Day. Most of you guys should be off. We'll be on the Discord. We'll be celebrating the solo career, playing his music. Your father wrote a lot of songs for his siblings over the years, so we'll be playing those, tapping into the solo career, celebrating Tito. We set him aside this year. And then Jackson Family Tea is on the Discord next Thursday. Jackson Family Tea is something that we do every year. You may or may not love it, but after we celebrate all the music and all the generations, we want to get into the stories, the families. Some things are obviously confirmed through different memoirs and books and stuff like that. Some of these things are urban legends, alleged, but kind of tapping. And I love this image.
Yeah, that is cool.
Too cute. And then we'll close out January 24th, which is a Friday. We're doing Michael Jackson, the rarities on Twitter. I try not to do too much Michael stuff during Jackson January because we do that all year long. We'll be talking about some of his lesser known, some stuff being unreleased, like Someone Put Your Hand Out, In the Back, Sunset Driver. And then some things have been released on compilation albums. We're going to get into some of those lesser known. We're going to watch the documentary Journey from Motown to Off the Wall on the Discord stream. Already we've watched a movie. We did music videos. We're watching the reality show this weekend, and we're closing out with the documentary. The Janet space was rescheduled for January the 30th. So we'll be covering Auntie Janet and all of her work. And then we're closing out with game night. This is the first year where I'm not planning game night myself. I don't know what we're playing. I have a really great team put together. Last year we did Jackson Jeopardy. We did trivia, like guess the lyrics. And you know what we did? And it was so fun.
What's that?
People love debating like, oh, Thriller is better than Off the Wall, or this is better than that. So we had people make slideshows. And so we did like Thriller versus like Bad. We did Invincible versus All For You, the Jackson 5 versus the Jacksons. And people had to make slideshows. They had to explain why their song was better and really get into the argument. It kind of pointed out how silly it is because all of the music is so good. It's really just a matter of opinion.
I just love how it's all on the Jacksons and it's fun, you know, and it's all out of love. So I appreciate again what you're doing, Mother Rose, and keep it going.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Okay, so y'all don't have to go home, but y'all got to get up out of here. Ideally, go over to the Apple Store. Yeah, go over to Spotify, go over to Apple Music Tidal, go buy the new single, stream it. Please show some support and some love to TJ, and maybe he'll come back another time.
Yep.
Yes, and thank you for trusting me with your first intro.
Always, Mother Rose. Always. Awesome. All right, I'm going to sign off.
Yes, I'm going to sign off as well. I'm going to end the stream. Thank you guys, everybody. And yeah, be safe. Enjoy the rest of your Jackson January. Okay.